It's me. Let me play around with this one more time. Maybe not. We'll just leave it alone, even though we're a little low. We'll sit really tall with a really good posture.
Really? There we go.
So this is Pauline, and she is a NIA instructor. So first things first, for those people who don't know, what is NIA?
Well, NIA is complicated to describe, so this is the fun part.
Yes.
But NIA is a joyful mind-body fitness program. So it's about getting people into their bodies, connecting, but there's that aerobic piece. And I think the big thing that separates out NIA from a lot of different programs is the emotional piece. So it's the ability to sound and express and release in a way that you don't usually see in any type of fitness program.
Well, that's a better explanation. When it was first explained to me, someone said it's a combination of dance, yoga, and martial art.
Which it is,
yeah.
But ultimately I think the essence of NIA is really the joy of movement.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's a more like to the heart of it.
Yeah, as NIA teachers, we often struggle with describing what NIA is because it's so complicated. There's so many different components, and there's always a reason to our madness of what we do and a science to it. So when we sound, for example, and I'll have you do this.
Yeah, we're going to do a demonstration later, so
but
stay tuned.
For example, when we sound, it's not just about us being weird. It's about engaging the core. It's engaging the breath in a more natural way. It's also a great way to play with emotions. And some of my favorite things to do is to play with the sound of like yes and no, because that's also another way to be able to use movement for me personally of how do I create boundaries in my own life. When is it that I can say yes and when is it that I can say no and have more confidence in being able to do it. So a lot of what we do in a class is using movement that we can integrate into our own lives without getting in our heads. There's a lot of things that can come up when we actually move with our bodies instead of
and you're practicing it, right? So it's not just, oh yeah, I know I should do that, but then you're putting it into practice and then it comes more easily, right?
Yeah.
So how long have you been instructing NIA?
15 years.
That is a long time. When did NIA start?
So NIA has been around now for over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
And we're still growing. We're still learning how to reach the market. I think part of it is because of the complexity and the layers that NIA has. Mm-hmm. It's not a quick, easy, marketable type of program.
Yeah. Yes. And what would you say like makes your specific approach maybe different or unique? Like you as a teacher, if I was going to say, well, if you want to do NIA this way, go to Pauline.
Well, there's two different things. I think for me, what stands out the strongest for my personality is bringing that essence of joy, right? I smile all the time. That's who I am, but that's what I like to transfer and share with my students is that essence of joy and bringing that back into it. My interest really is a lot of times working with people who are anxious and depressed or stressed and using that movement to really engage people. We kind of have like a classic NIA class, and the classic NIA class is more about conditioning, but any body, any fitness level, it can be done at any fitness level. So that's the NIA, classic NIA. But I also specialize in a program called Moving to Heal NIA, which just happens to be the same name as my business, which confuses people, but completely created separate. And now I'm actually getting more involved into the program of the Moving to Heal NIA program. But that one's really focused on feeling better, and a good description of the Moving to Heal NIA program is, you have restorative yoga and you have yoga.
Yeah.
So when I think of the Moving to Heal NIA, I think of it as that comparison. It's more of the restorative type of program, and it's specifically designed for people who have injuries, who maybe have cancer. It was initially started for people who had cancer, and it was expanded to other chronic health conditions, particularly chronic pain. So that's a new program I've added.
Beautiful. As a physical therapist, and I don't know if you knew that in my history, I'm a physical therapist, but I'm not practicing right now. But that, the people that are in chronic pain they need that. They need a safe and beautiful way to heal and not feel scared to move their bodies.
Well, and I think particularly what I like about NIA is when people are dealing with chronic pain, often the emphasis is on that painful area.
Right.
And what I like to do is okay, let's focus on the areas that feel good. Okay?
So
Instead
nice.
of engaging in that area of pain, let's focus on what feels good. Okay, how can we find that pleasure in the body so we can kind of retrain the nervous system to be able to teach the other parts of the body that are maybe hurting that they can feel better too, and what that feels like.
That's so awesome. You know, even the studies will show, you know, the more you talk about a person's pain, the more pain they're in. And yet, as medical professionals, you still have to ask people, like, what's your pain, to try and, you know, as part of your intake. And it's kind of like, well, I'm not supposed to ask about their pain, but I have to ask about their pain.
Well, and I've had, you know, I was, because I'm also an RN by background, and sometimes I've worked one-to-one with clients, so I've done more guided kind of meditations of learning about the relationship with their body, and then what's it feel like to feel pleasure. And if we focus on that pleasure, I've had people turn around quite a bit. And even I had a good story of a student who took a Moving to Heal Nia class when I was starting. I did like 4 sessions a couple years ago and decided to restart it now that life is maybe settling, or I have a good space for it. But the one thing I noticed when she was in class is she wasn't moving that part of her body at all. So her body had kind of locked up. And I had this sense that it wanted to move, but it needed support. So then she actually started kind of moving her arm, but actually supporting it with the other one. And it was a huge transition. She's like, oh, finally, that was just what she needed. Like, her body needed to move, but it just needed a little support.
Yeah. So beautiful that you can do that. And you're teaching here right now. You kind of can't see that neon sign behind us. Judo Fitness Center, Emerald City. Are you teaching in other places, or is this your home base?
So this is my home base. I sometimes sub on occasion at the Y in Bellevue, but I typically I'm actually growing up this program, and there's a lot of times where I can use the space a little bit more. So I've added in a yoga teacher, I've added in another Nia teacher, and kind of developing kind of this fitness movement program.
Great. And you have a class coming up. I know that I've seen you talk about on your Facebook about moving with your doctor, dancing with your doctor. Tell us about that.
So move with your doctor dance with your doctor and move with your healer. It was actually inspired when I heard a cardiologist talk at a functional medicine conference. And his idea was, he realized exercise is so beneficial to people's health. And he was telling his patients to go out and exercise, but they weren't doing it. And so he ended up starting a program called Walk with a Doc. So he would meet with patients in the park, and they would do blood pressure screenings, and then they'd walk, and then maybe they'd do a certain topic on health. And I was like, that sounds awesome.
That is so awesome.
That sounds awesome. And I'm like, I want to do a little spin off of that. And so I, as a Nia teacher and a movement person, so the plan is I will be teaching part of the Nia class, and then we're having Dr. Patty Shelton, who's the yoga teacher that's now teaching here, and she's also going to teach as part of the class. And then a reminder, Dr. David Musnick, who is an MD and a functional medicine doctor, is also going to talk about how to design your own exercise program. So it's a free event, and it's an opportunity to bring doctors and other healthcare providers and their patients together to dance and to learn.
So great.
So,
well, let me think. I feel like you've told us so much, and that we've just scratched the surface. But I don't want to go too long, because we are going to do a little demonstration. So we're going to maybe close down, and then maybe if I think of some more juicy ideas, we can answer them as we are moving. And we'll get set up and be back in 5 or 10 minutes.
okay, sounds good.
Bye.